Young and the Restless next week. Billy's savage strike on Adam, fury unleashed. We've got YandR spoilers for the week of October 27th, including the Billy, Jason Thompson, and Adam, Mark Grossman, fight in Phyllis Summers, Michelle Stafford, trying to make a shady deal with Victor Newman, Eric Braeden, and Kane Ashby, Billy Flynn, giving Jack Abbott, Peter Bergman, and Diane Jenkins, Susan Walters a dire warning. Young and the Restless. Phyllis's risky plan. I want to start with crazy, unhinged Phyllis. At the end of this week, she was still lying to Kane and saying she did not steal his AI program. But of course, Phyllis absolutely stole that AI program. She lied right to his face. And then Kane told Phyllis if it's true that she didn't take it. Then Kane wants Phyllis to help him find out who stole the AI so they can get it back. Phyllis is telling Kane it's obvious to her, Victor Newman's Eric Braeden, the one that stole the AI program. This is all part of her little plot. So, Phyllis told Kane she thinks Victor was using Newman Media to throw Kane off his game with those scathing articles, the hit pieces that upset him so much. And Phyllis is saying that Victor is going to use the AI to destroy Kane's company, Arabesque. He's wondering who hacked into his IT department and stole the AI program for Victor. But we all know who it was. Young and the Restless. So, Kane tells Phyllis that he'll handle Victor. The fact that the AI was stolen is also slowing down Kane's plan to get his kids and Lily Winters, Crystal Khalil, to forgive him. And he doesn't need this complication. He wasn't planning on using the program. He was going to let somebody safe have it, or destroy it. And Jill Abbott, Jess Walton, asked for it. He should have just given it to her. At the same time, Kane tells Phyllis he wants her to keep working on a way to restore his image. Kane says he'll distract Victor, and then she can help get the AI software back. So Phyllis agrees and Kane's saying, "Oh, I knew I could count on you." The thing is, neither Phyllis nor Kane are buying what the other one's selling. They're both lying to each other and they both know it because once Kane leaves Phyllis's suite at the GCAC, he made a call to have Phyllis monitored. Every single move she makes, he's going to have watched. Kane wants to know all of this because he really has no doubt that Phyllis is the one that hacked in and stole his missing AI program. The problem is Kane can't prove it and the program is gone. As soon as he left her room, we saw Phyllis texting Victor and saying they need to meet, and that it's urgent. Phyllis's dangerous double-cross with Victor Newman. In official Young and the Restless spoilers for next week, we've got Phyllis meeting up with Victor, and she tells him that she stole Kane's AI program. Phyllis wants to make a deal with Victor, and asks if he's interested. And I'm sure he's going to be. Victor may not act too eager. He may want some proof that Phyllis really has it, but obviously, Victor wants this program. Phyllis is doing something very dangerous by lying to Kane and playing Victor off against Kane. Based on the fact that Kane's having Phyllis tracked and followed, I'm sure he's going to know that she runs to meet Victor right after the AI goes missing. So, I'm sure Kane is smart enough to know that 1 + 1 = 2 and realize that, yeah, 100% Phyllis stole the program. But the question is, what can Kane do about it? Realistically, there's a very good chance this is going to blow up in Phyllis's face, because most things do. I do remember that Kane was talking about letting Billy use the program. And Billy would only think he was in charge of it, but Kane would be controlling it remotely. So, I do wonder if there's still some kind of backdoor in the program that Kane can access. But in the end, I doubt Phyllis is going to get a big win out of this. And she's betraying literally the only person in Genoa City who gives her the time of day at all. Kane issues a dire warning to Jack and Diane about Jabot. Speaking of this big betrayal, Kane also takes big steps next week according to Young and the Restless spoilers. We're going to see him heading over to the Abbott mansion, and he warns Jack and Diane. So Kane is going to tell Jack and Diane that there's potentially a very serious threat to Jabot. I don't think Kane thinks that Phyllis will launch it at their company, but Kane has probably figured out by that point that Phyllis ran to Victor. Kane knows that if Victor cut a deal with her, then the mustache will use the AI to target Jack and Jabot because he's got that big grudge. And that's exactly what Victor told Kane he wanted to do. So I'm sure that Jack is going to be smart, and he'll take Kane's warning seriously. I also do wonder if Kane tells Jack and Diane that it's Phyllis who stole the AI and took it to Victor. It would also be interesting if Kane's got some sort of countermeasure or some kind of virus protection sort of program against the AI, like when people design a disease and they also design the vaccine or the cure. Maybe Kane has got something that he can offer to Jack to prevent the AI from infiltrating Jabot. That would be something really funny to see Victor come up against. Billy's vicious attack on Adam shocks Genoa City. Of course, the biggest and most explosive drama next week on Young and the Restless is between Adam and Billy. As this week ends, we've got Sally Spectra, Courtney Hope, and Billy disagreeing over her hiring Audra Charles, Zuleika Silver, to be part of the executive team at Abbott.com that they're trying to get up and running again. Billy doesn't want Audra there, and he was pressing Sally to run it by his mom, Jill, for approval since she is financing the company. But Sally doesn't think she needs to because first of all, Jill's a silent partner, and second, Sally doesn't want Jill to think that she's going to run every decision by her. Smart thinking on Sally's part. So, on the heels of that discussion looks to be when Adam saunters into the GCAC with Chelsea Lawson, Melissa Claire Egan. I don't know, maybe Adam's taunting Billy about working for Sally because he's a loser who can't run his own company. Something sets Billy off. Something big. Young and the Restless. No matter what it is that Adam says, though, Billy seems to overreact, and he hauls off, and he brutally punches Adam. Billy savagely attacks Adam so badly, he knocks him completely down to the floor, right in the lobby of the GCAC. Chelsea is looking on in horror and shock. Of course, this is terrible timing for Billy to do this because not only does it make him look bad to Chelsea, but it makes Adam look like the victim, and he may be in this case. I don't think Sally is going to appreciate Billy doing this either, because it could make headlines in Newman media, which is an embarrassment Sally doesn't need as she's planning to try and relaunch Abbott.com. Jill may even call Sally to threaten funding because she doesn't have Billy under control. If his attack on Adam screws up Abbott.com, I think Sally is going to lose it. Upcoming November sweeps and YandR spoilers. Also, watch next week for Sienna Bacall, Tamara Braun, to deliver some dirt to Kyle Abbott, Michael Mueller about Audra. We know Sienna doesn't like Audra one bit, but she does like Holden Novak, Nathan Owens. So, Sienna's not going to give Kyle any ammo on Claire Grace Newman's, Haley Aaron new guy, but Audra is another matter. Genoa City is about to explode next week as the Young and the Restless ramps up the drama with a confrontation that fans have been waiting for. Billy Abbott is about to launch a ferocious strike against Adam Newman, and the fallout promises to shake the very foundations of the Newman-Abbott rivalry. If you thought the storms in Genoa City were over, think again. Billy's fury is about to erupt, and no one will come out unscathed. Billy has long been portrayed as a man walking a tightrope between calm, calculated business decisions and fiery emotional outbursts. But after weeks of manipulation, betrayal, and scheming from Adam, Billy has reached his breaking point. Sources inside Genoa City whisper that next week, Billy's patience snaps, and he decides to take matters into his own hands, literally. For viewers, this isn't just another sibling spat. It's a full-on, savage strike that could redefine the Abbott-Newman family dynamics. The build-up to this moment has been masterfully crafted. Adam, ever the calculating strategist, has been playing Billy like a chess piece, making moves that seem clever but increasingly reckless. From corporate sabotage to personal betrayals, Adam has provoked Billy in ways that cut deep, touching not just business but family pride. Next week, Billy finally crosses a line, and when he does, the city will feel the reverberations. Insiders reveal that the confrontation begins at Newman Enterprises, where Adam has been flaunting his latest power plays. The tension is palpable even before words are exchanged. Billy, fueled by weeks of pent-up anger and a sense of injustice, confronts Adam in a scene that is said to be as explosive as it is emotional. Expect fiery dialogue, slamming doors, and a confrontation that will leave viewers on the edge of their seats. What makes this storyline even more riveting is the personal stakes involved. Billy is not just lashing out as a corporate rival. He's fighting for respect for his family and for the legacy he believes Adam has been trying to tarnish. It's a classic sibling rivalry on steroids, with every word and action loaded with past grievances and present grudges. Fans of the show know that Billy's anger isn't reckless, it's deliberate, sharp, and in this case unrelenting. And the fallout won't be limited to just Billy and Adam. Genoa City's power players are poised to react in dramatic ways. Victoria Newman, caught in the crossfire, will struggle to maintain her composure as the confrontation threatens to drag her into the chaos. Meanwhile, other family members are bracing for impact, each with their own agendas and fears. The ripple effects of Billy's actions next week will touch everyone in the Abbott-Newman orbit, promising high drama and shocking surprises. One particularly intense scene reportedly features Billy taking control of the situation in a way fans haven't seen before. Gone is the hesitant, sometimes uncertain Billy Abbott. In his place is a man ready to strike decisively, someone who has calculated his move and is prepared for the consequences. The scene reportedly culminates in a jaw-dropping moment that will have viewers talking for days, possibly weeks. It's the kind of television that combines emotional intensity with a real sense of danger, classic Young and the Restless at its best. But what motivates Billy's fury? Part of it stems from a deep sense of betrayal. Adam's manipulations have not only threatened Billy's position in the family and at Jabot, but have also encroached on Billy's sense of personal honor. Sources hint that Adam's latest stunt, rumored to involve undermining one of Billy's business deals while simultaneously stirring personal chaos, was the final straw. For Billy, this isn't just about revenge. It's about reasserting his dignity and showing that Adam's games have consequences. Fans should also watch for unexpected alliances next week. Billy won't go into this battle entirely alone. Some surprising faces in Genoa City may lend support, either overtly or behind the scenes, making the showdown even more complex. These alliances could shift the balance of power, adding layers of intrigue and suspense that YandR excels at delivering. The tension isn't just in the fight itself, it's in the unpredictable outcomes and the strategic maneuvering that precedes it. And as always, Young and the Restless doesn't shy away from emotional depth. Beyond the fury and the strategic machinations, there's a human story here. A man pushed to his limits, struggling with anger, loyalty, and a desperate need to protect what he loves. Next week's episodes promise to explore Billy's emotional turmoil in a way that resonates deeply with viewers. It's not just about business battles, it's about the personal cost of family feuds, the weight of history, and the unpredictable nature of human emotion. Social media is already buzzing with speculation. Fans are divided. Some rooting for Billy's decisive action as a long-overdue justice move, others worried that his fury might lead to irreversible consequences. This division adds to the excitement, as viewers debate whether Billy's strike is heroic or reckless. Whatever the outcome, one thing is certain. The showdown between Billy and Adam is set to dominate conversations in Genoa City and beyond. What's particularly intriguing is the long-term impact this storyline could have. Billy's actions next week may not only shift his relationship with Adam, but could also redefine his standing within the family and the business world. Power dynamics are fluid in Genoa City, and a single explosive act could tip the scales in unexpected ways. Writers are known for their twists, and viewers can expect the unexpected. Loyalties tested, secrets revealed, and alliances shattered. As the week unfolds, every scene is expected to escalate the tension further. Expect confrontations not just between Billy and Adam, but involving other key players who find themselves entangled in the fallout. From boardroom battles to heart-wrenching family discussions, next week promises to deliver a full spectrum of drama. For longtime viewers, it's a reminder of why Young and the Restless remains a staple of daytime television. The show doesn't just entertain, it captivates, surprises, and engages on multiple levels. In conclusion, next week on The Young and the Restless, Billy Abbott is not holding back. His savage strike on Adam Newman is more than a moment of fury. It's a turning point that will redefine relationships, power struggles, and family dynamics in Genoa City. With high stakes, emotional intensity, and shocking twists, these episodes promise to be unforgettable. Fans should brace themselves. Billy's wrath is coming, and Adam may finally meet his match. Genoa City is about to feel the full force of Billy Abbott's fury, and viewers won't want to miss a single moment of the drama, heartbreak, and explosive action that's about to unfold. One thing is certain. Next week, Young and the Restless will remind us all why Billy and Adam's rivalry remains one of the most thrilling in daytime television. Had never been afraid of fire. In fact, she thrived in it. As the early morning light crept through the windows of her penthouse, Phyllis stood barefoot on the cold floor, phone in hand, staring at a single text message that could either save her or finally destroy her. I have what you want. One chance. Midnight. Come alone. She didn't need a signature to know who sent it. Victor Newman. A humorless laugh escaped her lips. Of course, she muttered. Because why wouldn't the most dangerous man in Genoa City be holding the last card? Phyllis had spent months clawing her way back from the brink. Humiliation, betrayal, near death, and public disgrace. People still whispered when she walked into crimson lights. Some crossed the street to avoid her. Others watched her like she was a ticking bomb. They weren't wrong, because Phyllis Summers was about to light the fuse. A woman with nothing left to lose. Nick had pulled away again. That hurt more than she wanted to admit. She understood his fear, understood it too well. Loving Phyllis meant living in chaos, and Nick Newman had spent a lifetime trying to outrun that truth. Summer had forgiven her. But forgiveness wasn't the same as trust. Phyllis saw it in her daughter's eyes every time the conversation turned serious. And Diane? Diane Jenkins was everywhere Phyllis turned, polished, protected, untouchable. The woman had survived death itself and somehow emerged cleaner than ever, while Phyllis wore every scar for the world to see. That imbalance gnawed at her. So Phyllis did what she always did when she felt cornered. She made a plan. A risky, reckless, potentially catastrophic plan. The secret Victor didn't know she knew. Weeks earlier, Phyllis had stumbled onto something she was never meant to find. A burner phone. An offshore account. A series of coded emails that connected Victor Newman to a quiet, ruthless fixer who specialized in making corporate problems and people disappear. It wasn't illegal. Not on paper. But it was damning enough to shake Victor's carefully curated empire if it ever became public. Phyllis had copied everything. Backed it up twice. Sent an encrypted file to a trusted contact with instructions to release it if anything unfortunate happened to her. Insurance. Now Victor knew she had something. And that meant she had leverage, dangerous leverage. Which was exactly how Phyllis liked it. Midnight with the devil. The Newman ranch was silent when Phyllis arrived, heels clicking against marble like gunshots. She didn't bother announcing herself. She knew Victor would be waiting. And he was. Seated in his wheelchair, silhouetted against the fireplace, Victor Newman regarded her like a general assessing an enemy who had wandered too close to the battlefield. "You're braver than you are smart," Victor said calmly. Phyllis smiled. "Funny. I was thinking the same thing about you." They circled each other with words, threats disguised as observations, warnings cloaked in civility. Victor wanted her to hand over what she had. Phyllis wanted protection. Immunity. A public redemption that only someone like Victor Newman could orchestrate. "And Diane?" Victor asked pointedly. Phyllis's smile tightened. "She stays out of my way." Victor studied her for a long moment. "You're asking me to rewrite the narrative of your life." "I'm asking you to control it," Phyllis shot back. "That's what you do best." The silence that followed was heavy enough to crush steel. Finally Victor nodded. "This alliance ends the moment you become a liability." Phyllis leaned in. "I've always been a liability, Victor. The trick is deciding to whom." The fallout begins. By morning, Genoa City was buzzing. A glowing article appeared online, painting Phyllis as a survivor, a woman manipulated, betrayed, and pushed too far by forces beyond her control. Anonymous sources questioned whether she had been unfairly vilified. Public opinion shifted, just enough to matter. Diane noticed immediately. So did Nick. He confronted Phyllis at society, confusion and suspicion battling in his eyes. "What did you do?" Phyllis met his gaze, softer now. "I did what I had to do to survive." "And who's paying the price?" Nick asked quietly. Phyllis didn't answer. She couldn't. Because deep down she knew the truth. Someone always paid. A plan with a hidden trigger. What no one, not Nick, not Diane, not even Victor, knew was that Phyllis had built a second plan beneath the first. If Victor betrayed her, the files would leak. If Diane crossed her, the truth about her past dealings would surface. If Nick turned away for good, that was the part Phyllis hadn't figured out yet. She stood alone again that night, staring out at the city lights, knowing she had bought herself time, but not peace. Phyllis Summers had stepped into the lion's den and walked out alive. But in Genoa City, survival was never the end of the story. It was only the beginning. Never been short of drama, but today, the air felt heavier than usual. The towering glass of Newman Enterprises reflected the midday sun, masking the storm brewing inside. Adam Newman sat in his sleek office, fingers drumming against the polished mahogany desk, eyes fixed on the city beyond. He wasn't just battling business rivals anymore. He was fighting a war within his own family. News had reached him that Victor had made another clandestine deal, this time involving Billy and a mysterious investor. Adam's jaw tightened. The thought of Victor meddling yet again, risking the company's future for his own ego, was infuriating. But it wasn't just the corporate battles that weighed on Adam's mind. There was Chelsea, whose recent behavior had thrown him into confusion and heartbreak. Chelsea had been distant, secretive, and strangely evasive, and Adam could feel her pulling away. He had always trusted her, but trust was fragile in Genoa City, as fragile as glass and just as easily shattered. And then there was the looming shadow of Nick, always present, always protective, and always with an eye on the Newman empire. Meanwhile, across town, Nikki Newman was facing her own private storm. Her daughter, Victoria, had returned from New York with news that could shake the family to its core. Nikki could see the tension radiating off Victoria the moment she stepped into the mansion. "Mom," Victoria said, voice trembling. "It's about Billy and about Adam." Nikki's heart skipped a beat. She had hoped the chaos of the past weeks would settle, but it seemed the family's troubles were multiplying. "Take a seat, honey. Tell me everything," she said gently, leading Victoria to the sunlit living room. Victoria's eyes filled with tears. "I found out that Billy's been hiding something. Something dangerous. And Adam, he doesn't know it yet, but it could ruin everything." Nikki felt a familiar chill. Secrets were Genoa City's currency, and everyone was spending them recklessly. She placed a reassuring hand on Victoria's shoulder. "We'll handle this. We always do. But you need to stay calm. Panicking won't solve anything." At the Abbott mansion, tension crackled like a live wire. Billy was pacing the study, phone pressed to his ear, arguing with someone whose identity remained unknown. Tracy Abbott, watching from the doorway, knew the telltale signs of trouble. Billy had that look, the one that preceded disaster. "Billy," she said softly, "you need to stop and think. Whatever this is, it's not worth losing yourself over." Billy's laugh was sharp, almost manic. "Tracy, you don't understand. This isn't just about me. It's about protecting everyone we care about. Sometimes you have to do things, hard things." Tracy's brow furrowed. She had always known Billy had a tendency to get in over his head, but this felt different. "Just promise me," she said. "Promise me you won't let this destroy you. Or anyone else." Meanwhile, back at Newman Enterprises, Adam had made a decision. He couldn't sit idly by while Victor's manipulations threatened the lives of those he loved. He called Chelsea, who answered on the first ring, her voice cautious. "Adam, what's going on?" she asked, though her heart pounded with unspoken questions. "I need to know what you've been hiding, Chelsea." "Everything. No more secrets," Adam demanded, though the softness in his voice betrayed his worry. Chelsea hesitated, her mind racing. Could she tell him the truth without shattering him, or herself? Finally, she exhaled. "It's about the baby, Adam. It's complicated." Adam's eyes narrowed. He had sensed trouble, but this was unexpected. "Complicated how?" "It's not just about us," Chelsea admitted. "There's someone else involved. Someone who could ruin everything if they find out." Silence fell over the call. Adam could feel the weight of her words pressing down on him. In Genoa City, secrets weren't just dangerous, they were explosive. In the background, Nick Newman was already onto the trail. His instincts had always been sharp, honed from years of navigating family betrayals. He had noticed the subtle signs: Adam's tension, Chelsea's evasiveness, and Victor's unusually quiet demeanor. Something big was brewing, and Nick intended to be ready. As the afternoon sun dipped toward the horizon, casting long shadows over the city, the Newman and Abbott families were on a collision course with destiny. Billy's secret threatened to explode, Chelsea's confession loomed over Adam, and Nikki's maternal instincts kept her on edge. And in the midst of it all, Victor Newman sat in his private office, a faint smile playing on his lips. He knew the power of secrets, of manipulation, of the right word at the right time. For Victor, chaos was an instrument, and he was the conductor. The night would bring confrontations, revelations, and betrayals. Alliances would shift, loyalties would be tested, and hearts would break. Genoa City was a city of ambition, desire, and endless scheming. And tonight, the flames of drama would burn brighter than ever before. As the clock ticked past midnight, a knock echoed through Adam's office. He turned, heart racing, and found Chelsea standing there, tears glistening in her eyes. "Adam, I have to tell you everything," she whispered. And in that moment, the fragile peace of Genoa City shattered. Secrets were out, emotions ran high, and nothing would ever be the same. In a city where power and love were constantly at war, the true battle had only just begun. Adam, Chelsea, Billy, Nikki, Victoria, and Nick, each would face the consequences of choices made in fear, love, and ambition. And in Genoa City, one thing was certain. In the world of the young and the restless, no secret stayed buried has always thrived on drama, deception, and the delicate dance of power between its wealthy and influential residents. But recently, one name has been at the center of a storm that could shake the city to its core: Phyllis Summers. Known for her cunning, charm, and occasional ruthlessness, Phyllis has stepped into a territory that even seasoned players like Victor Newman might underestimate. Her latest maneuver, a daring double-cross against the patriarch himself, has everyone in Genoa City talking. It all began with a business deal that seemed straightforward on the surface. Victor Newman, ever the shrewd businessman, had plans to acquire a major stake in a biotech company poised for explosive growth. On the surface, Phyllis appeared to be a loyal ally, helping to smooth negotiations and manage delicate relationships with stakeholders. But as anyone who has ever crossed paths with Phyllis knows, appearances are rarely what they seem. Behind the polished smiles and polite exchanges, Phyllis had her own agenda. She had spent months quietly building alliances, gathering information, and preparing for the perfect moment to strike. She knew Victor's ambitions, his weaknesses, and, most importantly, his blind spots. While Victor trusted her, seeing her as a savvy yet manageable player in his empire, Phyllis had been quietly plotting a move that could shift the balance of power in her favor. The double cross was subtle at first. Phyllis began sowing seeds of doubt among Victor's allies, whispering half-truths and carefully constructed lies. She hinted at potential conflicts of interest, financial mismanagement, and hidden risks within the biotech deal. Slowly, she created a climate of uncertainty, making Victor's associates question whether following his lead was in their best interest. But Phyllis didn't stop there. She also cultivated her own backchannel with investors, promising them exclusive access, favorable terms, and even a share of insider information. Victor, as brilliant and calculating as he is, began to sense a shift. The room that was once buzzing with his supporters now seemed quieter, more cautious. Board members and stakeholders he had relied on for decades started questioning his judgment. But Victor's intuition told him something was off. He couldn't pinpoint it, but the unease gnawed at him. That's when the tension reached its peak. The pivotal moment came during a high-stakes shareholders' meeting. Phyllis, armed with her meticulously prepared dossiers, stepped forward with a proposal that initially appeared supportive of Victor's vision. She praised his strategic foresight, subtly highlighting the potential for profit and growth. Then, with a carefully timed pivot, she introduced a competing plan, one that undermined Victor's deal, redirected funds, and shifted control to her allies. Gasps filled the room as investors turned their attention to the woman they had long underestimated. Victor's shock was evident, but his instincts kicked in immediately. He wasn't about to let Phyllis hijack a deal without a fight. "Phyllis," he said, his voice calm but edged with fury, "I hope you understand exactly what you're doing." His warning carried the weight of decades of experience and power. But Phyllis, ever confident and unflappable, met his gaze without hesitation. "I do, Victor," she replied, her tone cool and deliberate. "And I'm ready to take the lead where you've hesitated." It wasn't just business that fueled this betrayal. Beneath the surface, there were layers of personal vendettas, unresolved tensions, and old wounds. Phyllis had always navigated a complex relationship with Victor, alternating between admiration, manipulation, and sheer defiance. Over time, she realized that to survive and thrive in Genoa City, she couldn't merely play second fiddle. She had to assert her independence, even if it meant facing one of the most powerful men in town head-on. The fallout from Phyllis's maneuver was immediate. Media outlets in Genoa City buzzed with speculation, gossip, and analysis. Stock prices wavered, alliances shifted, and whispers of betrayal circulated through the corridors of Newman Enterprises. But the most dramatic impact was on Victor himself. For the first time in years, he was forced to confront a reality in which his authority was directly challenged, and not by an outsider, but by someone he had trusted implicitly. Yet, as with any well-crafted drama, the story doesn't end with the betrayal. Phyllis knows that Victor Newman is a force to be reckoned with. Her double cross, while bold, is also calculated to provoke, test, and measure his response. She isn't seeking to destroy him entirely, at least not yet, but to carve out her own space of influence within his empire. In this game of power, every move, every glance, and every whispered word counts. And Phyllis is playing it with precision, daring Victor to underestimate her again. Victor, for his part, is not one to be defeated quietly. He has already begun planning his countermove, drawing on decades of experience and a network of loyal allies. The battle between these two formidable personalities promises to be explosive, with each strategic decision carrying enormous stakes. Will Victor reclaim control and reassert his dominance, or will Phyllis continue to exploit the cracks in his empire? In Genoa City, nothing is ever certain, and the next twist could come when least expected. What makes Phyllis's double-cross particularly dangerous isn't just the financial risk, it's the personal dimension. This isn't merely a clash of business acumen, it's a confrontation of ego, history, and ambition. The emotional stakes are high, and both Phyllis and Victor understand that in the world of Newman Enterprises, a misstep could be catastrophic. Every alliance, every conversation, and every deal is a potential battleground, and both are armed and ready for war. As Genoa City watches, the saga continues to unfold. Phyllis Summers has proven once again that she is not a woman to be underestimated. Her daring double-cross against Victor Newman has shaken the foundations of one of the most powerful empires in the city, and the consequences are far from over. In a world where loyalty is fleeting and ambition runs deep, Phyllis's actions serve as a stark reminder. In Genoa City, power is never given. It is taken, seized, and defended with cunning, courage, and occasionally, a touch of ruthlessness. One thing is certain. Phyllis's dangerous gamble has not only put her in the crosshairs of Victor Newman, but has also cemented her place as one of Genoa City's most formidable and unpredictable forces. The next moves in this high-stakes game will determine not only the fate of a multi-million-dollar deal, but also the fragile balance of trust, loyalty, and power that governs life in this city. And if history has taught us anything, it's that when Phyllis Summers is involved, nothing and no one is safe.